So where do the believers come from? Why do so many intelligent people overlook all these disconnects on matters of race? I think I know the answer because I used to be one. Like many others, I was trained to be a believer. I remember it well, the day I got my training on the subject of racism. I was in the 5th grade at one of many Jefferson elementary schools in the Midwest. Our teachers were Mr. Lee and Mr. Dragland. One day, they announced to the class that we were going to play a game. It was called a word association game. The teacher would write a word on the board, and we were all supposed to shout out what that word made us think of. It was going to be fun. Mr. Lee began, and he wrote on the board the first word in the game. The word was white, and he pronounced it white. And we responded with words like clean and pure and honest. And as Mr. Lee was noting them on the board, we added more. Words like good and fair and bright. And then it was time for Mr. Dragland to choose the next word in the game. He wrote down the word black, but he pronounced it black. Almost angrily, he said, black. And we responded with words like scary, dark, and evil. He wrote down our answers as we tried to think of others. Words like empty or mean or dirty. And then we all got the surprise of our young lives. Our teachers were looking at the board, but then they turned to us, and Mr. Lee announced, "You're all racists." We were stunned. When one of the kids challenged them, he said, "I'm not a racist. I remember Mr. Lee saying something pretty close to, 'These are you kids' words, not ours. And frankly, we're both disgusted with all of you.'" The game had obviously ended. The classroom was silent, except for a couple of kids quietly crying. And for the rest of the day, and for the first time ever, we all got the silent treatment from Mr. Lee and Mr. Dragland. They were disgusted with our racism, and I never felt more ashamed of myself. And from that moment, I swore that I would change. From that day forward, I would believe that I am, by nature, a racist. So I ask you now, what is real? I mean, if racism were a real issue, then why do public school teachers have to trick children into believing in it? It makes you wonder, what is real?